Welcome to Balance with Kel, where we navigate the challenging waters of chronic pain and illness. After suffering with chronic pain for over 30 years, I'm super passionate about holistic methods to manage the pain. And I'm here to share what I have learned along the way. Today I'm going to be sharing about my journey of how I got started into yoga, going from a skeptic to a believer. I'm sharing this while I'm on a journey to becoming the best version of myself. But this isn't just about my journey, but it's about having a community, discovering the paths to wellness together. I'll share what's worked for me, and I invite you all to share your own stories too, because I believe that this journey is best taken with friends. So if you or someone that you love is seeking a more holistic approach, stick around. Let's embark on this journey together and jump right in. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm so grateful to have you join us. If you're new here, my name is Kelly. Today I thought I would talk to you about yoga, which is one of the most important things in my life, and how I got into yoga. Now for me, yoga is one of the great tools for managing my pain. When I wake up really sore, not knowing how I'll get through the day, I hop onto the mat. Sometimes the practice will be more of a gentle stretch than a yoga flow, but it gets me moving and I can get on with my day much better. Before I tried yoga, I actually never thought yoga would be helpful for me. So if you're like me, suffering with chronic pain, you'll often get suggestions of, have you tried this? And for the most part, I believe these people are well-meaning. They just want to help, and I'm always so grateful for those suggestions. But to me, when yoga was suggested, I was thinking, well, for one, I didn't have the body to do yoga. I wasn't flexible enough. It wasn't something that I would ever be able to do. And I thought, well, how is doing a few stretches and doing all those weird and bendy looking poses that I didn't think my body would ever be able to do? How was that really going to help me? And then it was about 10 years ago, Mum said to me she had been watching this TV show. I think it was Dr. Oz. And there was a yoga teacher on there, and he was sharing the benefits of yoga. And he had these 10-minute little videos that you could get off his website. And Mum said to me, well, why don't you just give it a go? So I thought, oh well, it's 10 minutes. What do I have to lose? As I was doing the video at home, I could always stop as I wasn't having to go anywhere. I also didn't have to worry about anyone looking at me. I was always worried that people would judge me for not being able to do all those poses. After all, I look fit and healthy. I used to be very subconscious, as suffering with an invisible illness, I often feared that judgment. Now I know that for the most part this isn't the case, and it certainly isn't in any class that I run. When you step into a yoga class, people are more worried about their own practice than yours. So with nothing really to lose, I gave it a try. And I was absolutely hooked from the first minute I stepped onto that mat. It wasn't hard like I thought yoga would be. There wasn't all those handstands and hard poses that I thought you had to make your body do. So I was surprised. I wouldn't say that it probably really helped my pain for the first time, but it really did help me feel better. Could I do all the poses? No. I couldn't, but there was modifications offered. I did think to myself at the time when I started, there would be no way that I would ever be able to get into those full versions of the poses. But with time, listening to my body and practice, I have been able to. I gave myself the compassion and time so that I was able to build the flexibility and strength to be able to do the poses. There are still some poses that are not right for me and for my body. Maybe they never will be, but yoga is more than just the asana poses. I've learned that it's okay not to practice every pose and to just honor my body and also its journey. Yoga also isn't something that I found that is going to be a quick fix or a cure. It's not something that I found that you just do once or twice and that you don't have to do it again for a while. But it's that consistent practice. It's a tool in my belt for managing my symptoms. I know for myself, when I had to give up practicing yoga when I wasn't feeling well, when I got an illness a couple of years ago and I couldn't do my normal flowy yoga practice, I found that my body was really suffering. So I learnt to lean into my more restorative practices of yin, and I also found somatic yoga, which I'll share in another video. So these lovely benefits of yoga, to get these benefits, I found there needs to be a consistent practice. So what are some of the benefits of yoga? Firstly, it's certainly not just for people that are flexible and mobile, as it actually helps you to build that flexibility and mobility, and also to build strength. It can help you to build some muscle tone and also build your lung capacity and cardiovascular endurance. As well as then there's stress reduction. It can help you to improve your concentration, your mental clarity, help to reduce those anxiety levels, and it can also even help with sleep. It is one of my tools for managing pain. So over time, I've done many different types of yoga. I've done vinyasa, hatha, yin, restorative, and kundalini. There are other styles that I haven't tried as well. All have their great benefits for me, but now hatha yoga is my main one that I practice. But I also love to relax into a yin yoga. It's really restorative. I really do love to hold those poses a little bit longer. It's a really beautiful, deep opening stretch because I really just love sinking into those poses. It really gives your chance for your body to unwind, to give yourself some time away from, I suppose, that mental chatter as well. Yoga does really help with my muscles as well. Because of my hypermobility, my muscles get so tight and it really does help me to relax. But I also have to make sure that I support my body while practicing. Now, I know yoga isn't for everyone, and before you try yoga, you should always get a medical clearance if you have a medical condition. Actually, for my condition, yoga isn't always recommended, as I'm more prone to injury and hyperextending my joints. But my doctors and physio are supportive of me doing yoga. What I have found for myself, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, as everyone's bodies are different, but for myself, I found as long as I make sure my alignment is correct and I take my time, I don't push myself, I don't let my ego take over, and I listen to my body and only practice to that safe level, for me, yoga is what helps reduce the pain. Yoga has taught me to listen to my body. It's also important, and I'm now finding that I need to listen to my body more outside of the yoga practice as well. It really does make that difference. In yoga, I've found when you listen to that body, I don't push myself. I found that I don't injure myself. I've had a few tumbles when I first started, and that was when I was doing a pose that I shouldn't do. When I tried to push myself and my body into a pose that it really wasn't ready for. Usually it was a balance pose for me because my balance isn't always the best. So when I tried to push myself into a balance pose that I wasn't ready for, that was when I would have the issue. Now I know to allow myself to move within my body's limits, allowing myself to build the strength and to add on to my ability to do certain poses. My yoga practice has really become a sanctuary. So I often found that when I was in severe pain at one stage in my life, I would just go and sit in maybe like child's pose for 5 minutes, and I would just sit there and just let my body relax down. Another pose that I loved was legs up the wall. It was really great for relaxation as well. When I was having a really bad flare-up of pain, I did use yoga as one of my support tools. I was just sitting in different poses there, crying with Marley resting her head on my legs, just to get some relief. I had so many different poses that would really help to release some of that pain for me. You'll hear me say in my yoga classes that this is one of my favorite poses. So clearly I don't have just one favorite pose because I say all of these are my favorite poses all the time. So now I just have to say that I have a suite of favorite poses that I absolutely love and enjoy. Like one of them being butterfly pose. It's one that always shows up in all of my classes. It's just such a great way to open up the hips. Another thing that I often find after I do yoga is how much calmer and more clarity I have. I suppose it really calms that mental chatter. Well, I do get a lot of mental chatter, so it really calms that inner voice down. And it brings you back more into your body. And I often find that I'll get these ideas that what I should be doing instead of my mind just racing. It actually brings me much more clarity and much more ability to get on with my day, I would say. I used to have a daily 40 to 60 minute practice. I was up at 5:30 in the morning every day. I loved that morning practice. Somewhere along the way, with a busy life and illness, that morning practice fell away. I still practice yoga, teaching classes each week and maybe 1 or 2 classes for myself. But my own personal daily practice is what seemed to slip away. And I really do miss that time out for myself. During my yoga journey, I found for me that I need to practice at least 5 times a week to get myself into a good place. It really just realigns my whole postural body. And I find when I don't do enough yoga, my foot, it would go out at this sort of weird angle. And I noticed that the more yoga that I do, that it started to come back into alignment. So the consistent practice is really something that I enjoy. I'm going to give myself compassion instead of beating myself up, letting that practice go. I'm now stepping back into the practice for myself, claiming back that routine. So yoga won't always be my first thing that I do in the morning because Marley loves her walk first, but I'm getting back into that morning daily practice to help my body get back onto track. On the mornings when I do wake up really stiff and I have trouble walking, my tendency used to be to stay in bed, which is what the body wanted to do. But my goal now is to get myself on the yoga mat, even if it's just for a morning stretch, a small gentle movements. It doesn't have to be a whole flowy practice where I'm up and down a lot. It can be a nice gentle flow where I get into all those nooks and crannies to just release that pain a little. Or it might be more of a yin yoga restorative class where I can hold on to those poses longer. If movement isn't always there, just sitting on the mat and breathing is great, because showing up is half the battle. Like every day is different for me, I know that everyone is different and you need to find what works for you. Every day doesn't always have to be a full hour of yoga. The shorter practices have their place as well. As I'm trying to listen to my body more, I'm finding sometimes I need to take a break during the day to stretch. So Marley often tries to lead me into the yoga room when my joints are subluxed. And sometimes I'm not even aware of how bad it is, but she is insistent. She keeps going to the yoga room door and standing there. So I finally now realized, and I know whenever she walks into that yoga room, I know, oh, I need to go in and do some yoga. And even if it's only for 5 minutes, but I know straight away how I feel when I hop down onto the mat. It's like, oh yes, my body really does need this. And now I've found that the yoga poses that are really supportive for me and some that I can use to help get my body back into alignment. I suppose it relaxes and they just go back into place. I found the more that I practice, the more that I'm learning to listen to my body. Not only on the mat, but I'm also learning to listen to it more off the mat as well, which has been really beneficial for me. If you've ever thought about trying yoga, why not give it a go? It doesn't have to be a practice where you're doing all the poses. Some of my students that come, they might do half the class to start with. And then you can always take a modified version of the pose as well. And just start to give yourself that chance to reconnect with your body. It's about listening to what you need in the moment. And it's something I would say not everyone is going to feel the benefits of straight away from that first class. And that's okay. It's just knowing that you're honoring yourself and giving yourself some time for self-care and just a little bit of time out from, let's say, our busy lives, because we all lead such busy lives these days. And it's okay to give yourself that little bit of a chance to listen to your own body, to listen to your needs. So if you have any questions about yoga or how it might benefit you, feel free to reach out. I always love to chat about yoga. I also have a few 20-minute videos on YouTube if you wanted to try and practice at home. I'll link those below. As we wrap up today's vlog, I invite you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let's navigate these unpredictable roads together. Your support, love, and kindness means the world to me. Remember, you're not alone in this fight. Your strength, bravery, and resilience are beyond measures. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.